It does not show that I'm live on YouTube. Might be having a small problem. Let's try this. Let's see. Don't know what's going on. Twitch is working. I saw that. Twitch is definitely working. Trying to get that situated. But for some reason, YouTube is not showing that I'm live right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. Alright. Now that everything is live. Twitch is definitely working. That's going to be awkward. Hey, Artaka. Sorry, I'm trying to get everything up and running. And I'm almost done, I think. Cool. That's good. Alright. Wonderful. Everything seems to be working pleasantly. Now I can start actually getting everything completely ready. How's it going, everybody? I'm kind of by myself a little bit. For a little bit, I should say. Trey will be joining me here later. But for now, I'm gonna be riding solo, which is okay. We've done it before. We'll do it again. And I know that Trey and Andrew aren't real big on the whole 2K thing, and there's a lot of 2K news that came out. So I'll probably talk about that while Trey's not here. I hope that's okay for everyone else. I'm also going to talk about my week, kind of get that out of the way. And Trey said that he will do his very best to get here as quickly as possible. So without further ado, hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. My name's Patrick. I'm kind of by myself, but that's okay. We're going to get through it together. I've got the docket pulled up. I got everything rocking and rolling. Everything's going to be good. Trey will be here later. And we will get all of that kind of rolling a little more. Which is great. Everything is great. So, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and get into my week. We'll talk about that for a second. My week has been hectic. Absolutely hectic. I'd be lying to you guys if I say I haven't been exhausted. I've been super exhausted. And the reason I've been so exhausted is because I'm working 6 days a week right now at my job, which is very hard to do. It could always be worse. But it's tiring me out big time. It's hardcore tiring me out. So I'm doing my best. I finally get a day off tomorrow, which I'm super stoked about. So I'll get a little bit more time to do what I want to do, which is play Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Let me tell you guys, this game is so good. So good. The characters are so well written. There's so many different options. Like, this game just kind of lets you do what you want to do. Obviously, until the missions come up, you kind of have to do those, but every week in between the important missions, you have so much freedom. And I haven't played near as much Fire Emblem as Trey. For the record, I've completed Fire Emblem 7. I've almost completed Fire Emblem 8, and I've almost completed Fire Emblem 6. I'm in the middle of finishing both right now, but Three Houses has kind of taken precedence. And I have to say that this game is beyond amazing. It's probably one of the better games I've played, period, in my entire life. The writing is really good. I don't see how anybody could not see how well the writing is, especially. And I also want to preface it with, I've only played like maybe 15 to 20 hours of the game. And supposedly to complete it, it takes roughly 70. So it's gonna be a while. I got some time with the game still. And of course that's gonna also depend on how much time I spend running around and talking to students and stuff, doing the small little bitty side little quests and missions inside, without actually doing the real missions. So I have a lot to go, and I probably will take my time getting there. But I'm excited for the ride. It's such a great game. Such a great game. But the other thing I really wanted to talk about before I really get into the 2K news that I got and a couple other things, and like actually start talking about more stuff, is the manga that I've been reading. So I convinced Andrew to start reading the manga series called Chainsaw Man. And for those of you who have missed the podcast or didn't have a chance to go watch the VOD where I talked about it, Chainsaw Man is basically a story of a kid who lost his parents. And in the world that he lives in, demons run freely around the world. And from what we know, they're all evil. Like, they don't have any good intentions. However, the one devil that this kid found happened to be a somewhat decent demon. And it's a chainsaw. Go figure. It's a chainsaw that looks like a dog and barks like a dog. And I know what you're thinking. It's really confusing. So basically, it has like the body of a really fat dog, but it has a chainsaw instead of like a snout. So it's a giant chainsaw. And its tail is the pole, like the pulley to start the chainsaw. That's what its tail is. And it has a handle. So what he would do is he would run around his town and kill demons for the people in town with the chainsaw. And I'm not spoiling anything. I mean, you're gonna learn this like in the very first few pages of the first chapter. I'm just trying to give you a sneak preview, because what happens at the end of the first chapter is how the story really starts to grow and begin. The world building is really good. There was one chapter where I was like, where's this going? This is kind of weird. And the next chapter handled that so well, and it just kept going in such a positive direction. This last chapter that I just read, I don't remember what chapter I'm on, so I'm going to pull it up while I'm talking because I don't want to sound like a doofus. But the chapter that I'm on right now is chapter... Let me pull it up, I know, let me pull it up. Wait, where is it at? Am I going to have to search it? It may not be that deep. Okay, I'm on chapter 33. I'm currently caught up with the manga. So, it started a little while ago. And 33 chapters is not that many. The first two chapters are kind of longer, and then it goes back to like the standard. So you're going to be reading like 19 to 20 chapters. I mean, 20 pages a chapter. And it's so good. Like, this last chapter was insane. There's one character that I refuse to even spoil the character's name. This character was so kind of like distant. Like, you knew who they were. Like you knew of them, and you know what they're you don't know what they're capable of, but you have an idea how powerful they are. And you don't actually get to see the power on display as far as like what they do to make something happen, but something huge happens, and then a few chapters later something even bigger happens, and you realize that this character is like out of this world powerful. So I'm really curious to see how the chapters continue to go, because every chapter surprises me. Every chapter I think like, okay, you know, this one's going to be a filler, or this one's going to be a boring chapter, and it's not. Like, every chapter is really good. So you can, and we're not sponsored by Shonen Jump, but I do want to promote them anyways. You can pay $20 to Shonen Jump, and for an entire year you can read their content for that whole 12 months. That's stupid cheap. It's a really great price. And on top of that, they're constantly putting out new manga onto the application and on the website. And you can read old manga that they've been putting on there as well. It works really well on the phone. It works really well on tablets. Obviously, it works really well on your web browser. I highly recommend it. If you want to try to get into manga, now's the best time. There's so many good manga out there. I'm also reading Dr. Stone. I'm still reading that with Andrew and Trey reading it as well. They're a lot farther ahead than I am, but it's really good. Definitely recommend that. You have a lot to catch up on, though. So don't be afraid, as a person who's not really used to manga, don't be afraid to jump into it. You'll see a manga series that already has like 300 chapters, 400 chapters out. And of course, at first that looks terrifying, right? Because they added more Gundam series that is actually available for purchase. That's super awesome. Like, Shonen Jump is so great. That application is fantastic. Thanks for pointing that out, Mr. Artaka. I didn't know that. That's super cool. I'm gonna have to go check that out now. Honestly, it's awesome because like you'll see like okay, so you see the 400 chapters and you're like, oh, that's scary. I couldn't get into that. There's no way. But only the first few chapters are going to be long. The rest of them are going to be 19 to 25, 26 pages. I mean, of course, it varies between what the chapter has in it and the manga series, but it doesn't take that long to read 19 pages. You'd be surprised. A lot of these panels, well, especially like if it's well written, the panels just flow. Oh, you said it's on Amazon Prime Video? Still, that's really cool. I have Amazon Prime as well. I'm gonna have to go check that out. I did not know that. I'm trying to get into more Gundam, which everybody should. If you're out there and you haven't even tried Gundam yet, you should. You need to find something and check it out. I haven't watched a ton of Gundam yet. No, I understand, Artaka. I understand, it's cool. Gundam is fantastic. But this manga, the manga that I'm reading is really good. I'm also reading My Hero. I started reading that to kind of keep up, to like past where we're at in the anime. I highly recommend that. That's ridiculously good. I wish I had listened to Trey a while back. I know he's going to come through, listen to the VOD, and hear me say this. I'm going to say it again for you. You were right, Trey. I should have started reading it right after I finished Season 3. But, nevertheless, I started doing it now. It's so good. It's so good. They added Unicorn. Oh, I really want to watch Unicorn. I heard Unicorn is super good. I'm going to have to go check that out as soon as I'm done with the podcast, because I heard Unicorn is fantastic. So I'm definitely going to go check that out. But like I was saying, so I'm reading My Hero. That's fantastic. The only other thing that I'm reading, their OVA versions of Unicorn. Okay. Still though, that's really good. At least it'll give me something. The only other manga that I'm reading is Samurai 8, which is written by the same person that wrote Naruto. Not the editor, not the one who's writing Boruto, but the actual like writer of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. And Samurai 8 is fantastic. It is so good. It's the first chapter is really long. It's like 50 pages. But it's 110% worth it. I guarantee you, if you go to Samurai 8 and you start reading the manga, you start reading the first chapter, you see the page numbers and you're going to be like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. Read 6 or 7 okay, read a normal chapter size. Read 20 pages and see if you're not hooked to finish the rest of the chapter. It's so good. The world building of this manga is out of this world. It's so good. The first chapter made me cry, which is ridiculous to me. I've never cried reading anything, but I cried reading the very first chapter of this manga, and that's how I knew like this thing is going to be a banger. This thing is literally going to just start off in flames and keep going, and it has. It's so good. It's got such great characters. And I don't want to ruin any of them. Like you have to go read Samurai 8. It's a ninja story. Go figure. Gosh, man, it's so good. It's a samurai story, not a ninja story. Let me clarify. I don't want to get hit in the comments. It's a samurai story. Yes, it was fast. I know. But trust me, if you get a chance to read it, please do. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. Now, so I'm gonna try to cover the 2K news now. So try not to tune out too much. A lot of stuff happened recently. There's a lot of content creators out there that are really big in the 2K community. And they tried to get some changes made. They tried to go to the community today. One of the biggest content creators out there didn't even get invited to the community today. And then whenever he tweeted about it, Ronnie2K himself tried to say that it didn't happen, like that it was a lie. And I'm pretty sure he only said that because he got blasted basically on Twitter. Because almost everybody in the NBA 2K community knows who Agent Zero is. And he didn't even get invited to the community day, which is sad because he has a lot of influence on the community. It's insane that Ronnie2K is not like at least wanting to cooperate with Agent Zero because he's so popular. I feel like that's one of the scariest things to do as somebody as important to 2K as Ronnie or in any development team or like company. If almost every single person in your player, like in your community, like your game community, follows this one person, wouldn't you want to work with them? Wouldn't you want like to actually know what they want or what they feel that the community wants? Like that's so important. And to not even want to invite him to community day is a problem to me. And it is what it is. It's 2K. I'd be lying if I said 2K was good every year. It's not. And I'd be lying if I said it's always going to get better. It's not. But it's one of my favorite games. And it's because it was one of the first games that I really like got into outside of like Call of Duty. And it's really unfortunate that Ronnie2K is acting the way he is. Hopefully he fixes it. I mean, Agent Zero should be at everything. He literally has a huge amount of influence on the community. So it surprises me that he's not, constantly talking to Ronnie. The big changes that they talked about making were changes to the engine, the movement engine. So in the previous years, you could not tell. Now let's take out, like, don't factor in the way that the character looks, their height, their weight, or their speed rating. Take all of those out of the account. You could not tell what type of player a player was by the way they ran. Every player ran the same. So they're like takeoff animation. They could all, every single position could do any dribble. So you could be a 300-pound, 7-foot tall, big, and do dribble moves like Kyrie Irving in 2K18, which is a problem because there is not a single person that big that can dribble like that. It's just not a thing. So they're trying to hopefully fix some of that stuff. It'll be nice to actually see it get fixed, but we'll see. I mean, they've made a lot of false promises, like, you know, not being so harsh on microtransactions. You're fine, Artaka. So supposedly they're not going to be as harsh on microtransactions. We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. It's kind of one of those things, you know. Who knows? It'd be nice. Supposedly they're going to be focusing more on the My Career. I play My Career. I don't play it probably as much as some people do. I spend a lot more time in my GM, especially nowadays. But who knows? Maybe I'll go back to My Career. Maybe I'll want to actually go play in the park now. I doubt it. I doubt it, but we'll see. So there's that. They dropped an entire blog. I wonder if I can get a hold of the link to that blog. I'm going to kind of banter a little bit while I try to do that. So anybody that's really interested can actually go see that blog. It's interesting. I mean, they're trying to make changes. They really are trying to make changes. It would be nice for them to really listen to what the community wants. And I know that's difficult. I want to make sure that this is clear. I understand how difficult it can be. They are attempting to make a game in a year. They make a new game every year. And yeah, you know, they make a lot of money. They should be they have this workload already understood. They should know. They should have more developers. You know, we could go on for days about the quote unquote resolutions to all these problems, but at the end of the day, they are pumping out a brand new game every year. They're using a lot of the same code probably, but it's still a lot of changes that have to be made. And I don't want to go without saying, I understand that they have very little time to do a lot of work. So I want to preface that before I say what I'm going to say. But I am going to say, I do think it's a problem that they have all this money and it's being spent on what seems like the wrong things. I would like to hope that that will change, but I don't think that it will ever change until 2K has real competition. NBA Live tried to come back, and look what happened. It was awful. It was absolute trash. And it's been trash the whole time. EA cannot get it figured out. If there is some other development team out there, some other company that wants to try to make a basketball game and actually spend time on it, they should. Because there's a market for it. There's multiple types of shooter games. Why does there have to be only one basketball game? There's multiple soccer games. Why does there only have to be one basketball game? And to bring soccer into it, FIFA, while FIFA is a great game, so is PES. And a lot of people like PES more than they like FIFA. And I don't think I can blame them. Because Pro Evolution Soccer plays so well. FIFA plays good too. But PES is more rewarding for skill, which is so important in sports games, in my opinion. It shouldn't be solely based on, did I spam something enough? Or did I run the cheese play like in Madden or whatever it might be? You know, it's just one of those things that needs to be fixed across the board. Hopefully, we'll see some improvement. If you're out there and you follow the channel and you care about 2K, leave some comments. Let me know what you think these changes will really mean. You know, adding these new animations. The new animations look really good. I have to say that. What are your expectations? What are your expectations for this upcoming game? I mean, the demo drops on the 31st of this month. We're really close, and the game comes out in September. Also, I understand there's a lot of you that probably don't care, But tell me how you feel about developers who make year after year games. There's other ones out there. I know that. And if you like one of those games that has a reoccurring appearance every year, or they change something small every year, or you know what I mean, kind of like sports games, let me know what their problems are, and we can talk about that whole entire like difference that could be there, because it's real. It's not like Call of Duty where they have multiple different companies making these games, so they have like multiple years in between. It's the same company every year. And it would be nice to just see some improvement. That's all. It would be so nice. It'd be so nice for real improvement. So Trey is on his way home, so hopefully he'll be here soon, so it's not just me hanging out, chilling by myself. In the meantime, we can get into stuff a little bit. So we did have a review this week. We had one review. It's for the game called Age of Wonders Planetfall. And I'm trying to pull up this review thread here. Let's see. Let's go to OpenCritic and check that out. I don't know anything about this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I might... Hey, what's going on, Will? I might look at it and actually recognize it. But as of right now, I don't recognize this game at all. So this is going to be interesting. Oh, wow. So it actually got a pretty decent rating here. It got an 84 on OpenCritic with a 95% recommendation. That's very interesting. Trying to look at some reviews here. Let's see. PC Gamer gave it an 85. That's a really long blurb there. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Welcome back, Artaka. IGN gave it a 7.5. A good format that optimally mixes two different strategy modes, but which in turn has too much information to process and requires time to adapt, with a somewhat more repetitive campaign than we would like. Interesting. All you missed really was me continuing to talk about 2K for a moment, and then asking, and I'll ask you guys the question since you're here now. Is there a game series that you guys like that makes games every year, kind of like sports games? And if so, what kind of problems do you see that they have? Because coming from the only person in the group that I know of that plays a game that does this, it's kind of difficult to kind of have that discussion. But I don't know if there's a whole lot of other games out there that do the same thing. So, let me know. It's an interesting conversation to have. There's really not a whole lot of reviews here. It shows that there's 22. Let's see. Trying to find some interesting. So Nathan Birch says Planetfall is currently certainly worth exploring, but not all strategy fans are going to want to set up permanent residence. That's kind of scary. However, they gave it an 8 out of 10, and honestly, I feel like an 8 out of 10 is a really good score for a game. Granted, the way that I would score games and the way some other people score games is differently, obviously. But an 8 out of 10 sounds really good. And overall, it's done really well. Like I said a second ago, it's got an 84 critic average. 95% recommended. Armored Core kinda did that in the mid-2000s with the 3 series. Gotcha. I mean, this looks really interesting. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. But it looks interesting, and now that I look at the images and stuff, I kind of remember seeing this. But there are less sequels, more expansions. Gotcha. It's definitely interesting. Hopefully the game continues to do well once it gets actually released. Some of these screenshots look really good. I don't have a whole lot to work on here. It kind of looks like. Now don't hate me for sounding stupid, but wasn't it Halo Wars that had the really high view where you controlled all the Spartans and stuff? And you moved the characters around. I'm pretty sure it was Halo Wars. It kind of looks like that to me. It's kind of hard to tell, obviously, from the screenshots here, but what screenshots were available, it kind of looks like Halo Wars to me, which I liked that game. I don't know how many people truly liked that game, but I did. I thought it was really good. So, but yeah, that's the review that came out. Age of Wonders Planetfall. Doesn't look like we'll be getting any more reviews for a little bit. We've got some games coming out. The next game releases on the 20th, which is Remnant from the Ashes and Rad. So we probably won't see any more reviews until maybe a week or so. So we might have some next week, but it'll probably be like in 2 weeks. So we'll see. But that's all the reviews we have for the week. Trey should be getting here soon. I'm going to try to wait a little bit longer so that way maybe he can jump in on some of this news. I know he's got some opinions. He typed out all of his stuff just in case he couldn't make it completely today. And I can tell he has some opinions. So I really don't want to skip any of that. And we honestly have more news than you think, so we might be pushing kind of close to 9:30. I hope not, just based on, you know, the usual time that we're on, but given the circumstances, we kind of had to push it back a little bit, so we'll see what happens. I'll start getting into it a little bit. So the new Guilty Gear. They dropped, at E3, they dropped a trailer. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I am hype. This game looks so good. I mean, it's Guilty Gear. I feel like there's an expectation already, which is fine. Guilty Gear looks stupid sick. And the words that Trey had are literally, Guilty Gear looks sick, super hype. Hey, what's up, Eric? This game looks really good. We actually had a couple fighting games get announced this week, which obviously at E3, so it's kind of expected. But yeah, the new Guilty Gear, the trailer right away, it hits you with some metal, and it just sounds fantastic. The song literally, you just scoped me in immediately, and I was like super hype. I was like, this game is gonna be good. I don't even know what it is, and then I realized it was Guilty Gear. And I went bananas. I went absolute bananas. It looks so good. It doesn't show a ton of content, but it does show a new character. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but definitely watch the entire trailer. It looks so good. The new character looks awesome. I can't wait to see everyone's reactions. Let us know in the comment section below. Let us know how excited you are for the new Guilty Gear. I'm super excited to see your comments. We'll talk about it in the comment section. Of course, probably a little bit more next week when the full team's here. Super hype. That game looks really good. After that, they announced King of Fighters 15. And that's all we know. They didn't really tell us anything. All we know is that it's being worked on. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know anything about what it looks like or anything. But hey, King of Fighters. We'll see what happens. So the people who made Momodora, they made a sequel. It's actually coming out this month. It's coming out in 22 days on the 27th. It's called Minoria. And if you don't know what this game is, it's like a 2D platform story-driven RPG. That's the best way I think I can put it. I don't think that you actually level up or anything though, so it's more of just like a side-scrolling story game. But there is fighting as well. The fighting looks really good. The art design is really interesting. I've never played Momodora, but Trey said that he really liked it, so he must have played it, obviously. Minoria looks really interesting. The art looks good. The fighting, the little bit of fighting you get to see in the trailer looks really good. And then, of course, like you get to see a couple of scenes of like the story. It looks interesting. I've never played Momodora, so I don't know how much that that story is going to be in Minoria. So if you haven't played Momodora, you probably should play that first. And that's probably what I'm going to do, because I kind of want this game. But there's so many games that are out right now that I really need to play and I need to finish. I don't think I'm going to have time to fit it in this year, so it might be something I just play next year. But we'll see. I mean, next year is supposed to be jam-packed too. It's kind of just one of those things. Every year seems to be getting better, which is a good sign for gaming. Another fighting game. Under Night in Birth X Late Clear. This looks sick. It looks super good. I watched the trailer right before. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it looks fantastic. The art style is great. The art style is the art style that I really like when it comes to fighting games. So it kind of looks like Guilty Gear. It kind of looks like Blaze Blue Cross Tag, and I think it's made by the same people who made Blaze Blue Cross Tag. The game looks super good, so that trailer is definitely worth talking about. That game's got announced. I didn't see a release date in the trailer. I might have missed it, but I did not see a release date in the trailer. Guilty Gear is supposed to be coming out in 2020, and I'm pretty sure that Under Night in Birth X Late Clear is also going to be coming out in 2020. And then last on the announcements was Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. That already has an official date. It's February 16th, 2020. And yeah, no, it looks good. If you go check out the trailer when you get a chance, Artaka, it looks really good. I'm super excited to see what really comes out of that. It looks like it's going to be fantastic. So, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I watched the trailer for this as well. So it's a fighting game, but they added an RPG aspect to the game. So right now, all we seem to know about this game is that it's going to have 11 characters that are playable. 3 of which haven't been announced yet. I've never played Grand Blue before, so I don't know any of the characters, but the characters look really interesting. But it's a fighting game that has an RPG game style, like it has an RPG game mode all on its own, so you can actually play it as an RPG that's like a beat 'em up style fighting game. It's basically a beat 'em up. So it showed some like scenes where, you know, all the characters were 2D obviously, and talking. They had a couple of like voice scenes. All of this was in Japanese, so I got no English context to go with it. So you'll need to see it for yourself for the most part. But I'll do my best to explain what I saw. Like, you got to see a couple of like story scenes. Not a whole lot of movement. And then whenever it comes to the actual like fighting part of it, it's like a beat 'em up. And I completely agree with Artaka. He said it could go really well or really poorly. I completely agree. It could be really good. It could have a very interesting story. The beat 'em up style of the game could play really well. There was a couple of screens that it showed where you were like upgrading your weapon and some of your skills, which is super interesting to me. To see an RPG in a fighting game, we've seen them before, and some of them have been really good, and some of them have been really bad. But this looks like it could be really good, and I hope so. Because I'll probably get it. The game looks super interesting. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't interesting. But we'll talk about the RPG part of it a little bit more when we get into the news. Because there's definitely some stuff that we can talk about in there. And Trey has his opinion on it, which we'll talk about as well. But yeah, that's all the announcements and game announcements and release dates that we have for this week. Trey should be getting home any minute now, so hopefully he'll be able to jump in on some of this news as well. We'll probably talk about some of the stuff we've already talked about a little bit here in a little bit, because I know he's going to want to talk about Guilty Gear. I know for a fact he's gonna want to say something. He's probably gonna want to talk about Minoria, and I want him to try to give you some more context because, like I said, I've never played Momodora, so I don't have a whole lot of input to give on it, and I really would like to be able to kind of give you guys a little bit more because he'll know more about it. And the Grand Blue discussion, I really want to see his opinion too because I've only played one game where I thought the RPG aspect of the game was done somewhat well. And I can't even remember which Dragon Ball Z game it was. It was one of the Dragon Ball Z games. I'm sure it was like Budokai Tenkaichi or something like that. But basically, it had the fighting aspect, and then you could play the story mode where you actually flew around. And you flew around and actually like messed with a lot of the characters and stuff you could find Dragon Balls and other things like that. And look at that, man, Trey is home. Things about to get a little bit more interesting. So without further ado, we're gonna try to get him in here, let him settle in for a second, and then I'll transition over to a different view to kind of make things more appealing to the eyes. But yeah, like I was saying, it's really interesting. It was Budokai 3? Okay, that's what I thought. I knew it was a Budokai game. I just couldn't remember if it was Tenkaichi or if it was regular Budokai. I thought they handled it kind of well. I don't think that it was handled poorly, but it could have been better. So to see an RPG in another fighting game kind of has me a little worried, and that's solely because I don't know what to expect. I really don't. But this could be really good. I mean, people love beat 'em ups. Beat 'em ups are great, and I'm excited to kind of see where it pans out. So real quick, let's see if we can get Trey in here. Hopefully we can get him in here in a second. I don't want to rush him because he's had a long day. But I'm going to go ahead and start the call. Let's see how this goes. Hello?
Hello. I have to mute the podcast now. I was trying to watch on the way home, but I didn't have a lot of signal. I took the back roads. For anybody who doesn't know, it takes me 30 minutes to get home. I made it home in 14.
Wow. Hey, you need to be careful out there, man.
I didn't get a ticket, so it's fine. This time,
okay.
Any cops that are watching, I don't do this regularly.
So let's see how well this transition works.
I still can't see you through
just
Discord,
you.
but that's fine, I suppose.
That's because of OBS.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know how I'm gonna fix this.
What you can do is if you full screen me in Discord, then you can just add Discord as another layer and then just add me to it.
What if I do this? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna copy this right here.
Everybody can hear me though, right, chat?
They should be able to.
Oh, look at how dumb I
Hopefully.
Look.
We'll transition back into this.
Because chat, if you can hear me, I feel like you were talking about Grand Blue Fantasy.
We were. Yes, and I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, so I'm actually super stoked for Grand Blue Fantasy versus, particularly because the single player is that beat 'em up style, which is great, right? Those are always fun. And then the multiplayer is an actual fighting game, which is insane to me. Grand Blue is a series. I'll turn that light on. It'll make me a little bit more. And I'll take these off so there's no glare. Oh, sorry. Grand Blue is a series that has always been like kind of forgotten. Like the I'm trying to remember the name of the old one, like Left Razor or something like that. And then yeah, that should do it, Pat.
Is that decent enough?
Yeah, that's cool. I have it muted, but I can still see the video, and that looks good.
Okay, cool.
Like that's a series that has always been just forgotten, you know? Like it never gets a lot of light shone. I'm still wearing my name tag. It never gets a lot of light put on or anything. And in a way, I'm really excited that it's going to be getting this bigger showing. The only thing I'm worried about is this will make a lot of people turn to the mobile game, which is very much a gotcha.
They're always gonna be there.
Yeah. I mean, not like they're spoiled for choice for gotchas now, right? So
Absolutely.
might as well play that one too, I suppose. But no, I'm really excited for it. I think it looks really good, especially the single player.
Yeah, the RPG beat 'em up looks interesting.
Yeah.
And that's to say the least, obviously. I mean, it looks interesting. Like Artaka said, it could go really well or it could go really poorly.
Yeah,
And
in a lot of ways, it's going to be like Three Houses, where it's either the greatest idea or the worst idea.
yeah. And so, was there an English version of that trailer?
Because there was, but it got posted after I added the stuff in.
Oh yeah, I only saw the Japanese trailer.
Yeah, I haven't got to see it either. I just know that when I asked a friend of mine that is like big on trailers, he said, "Yeah, there's an English version." I was like, "Well, I'm already at work now. There's nothing I can do about it."
Yeah. What's up, King? Yeah, I need to try to probably watch that one because there wasn't a whole lot of explained that I could actually understand. So
yeah,
I was kind of in the middle ground.
Look, I'm not saying that I come back home and then King just shows up. I'm not saying that's connected. I'm just saying, hey King, how's it going? But yeah, I guess you've already covered a lot. I didn't get to watch obviously because I was at work.
No, you're fine. I want to hear I told them that we'd probably go back and talk a little bit about some of the stuff I've already talked about, which is totally fine.
Okay.
I want to hear about your week, first of all. We should talk about your week. And then after your week, we'll hit the big ones, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. The big thing for my week was Three Houses.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that I have had last week and then this week, and then the week before that, getting ready for it, are some of the biggest work weeks for me with my work.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't had a lot of time. I've barely even touched 14. There are days in 14 where I didn't get my daily stuff. Feels bad, man. But around all of that, I've been playing and recording footage for B-roll for Three Houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was really curious what the viewers would like to see. So please let us know in the comment section down below for this. Do you want to see like a super hypercut of all of the like big moments from the story from the footage that I've recorded, or would you like to see some of the actual battles? Because there's not a lot of commentary to it, honestly. A lot of the time I'm just like zoned in,
which is understandable.
But I'm on chapter 15.
You're so much farther than me.
And I'm not going to tell you what happens, obviously, Pat. I don't want to spoil anything for you. I will tell you, though, I cannot believe there are 2 more routes in this game.
Really?
Because where I'm at right now, cat, so help me. So help me, you stupid cat. Where I'm at right now, I feel like I'm playing a complete Fire Emblem game already.
Mm-hmm.
Just from one house.
I know.
Because some stuff happens, Pat. Some stuff happens. And I really love all of my characters. And I wish that I had started supporting a different character instead at this point, because I think that character's way cooler now.
Mm.
But I guess I can say this. I can say that... I was double checking because I froze on the stream for a second. I can say that I am currently trying to go for an S support with Lysithia.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Who are you
very
trying
interesting.
to go for an S support with?
You
know yet?
Yeah, you should already know. It's Marianne.
Yeah, that's fair. I will tell you that without spoiling too much, there are paralogs in this game. And that's not a thing that you've messed with in Fire Emblem before, but it's basically like a Gaiden chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's what if a Gaiden chapter was based on one specific character?
Ooh.
And I will tell you that I did a paralog today that is the hardest chapter in this game. Hard to the point of being garbage in some place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that sucks.
Where I figured out really quickly a workaround, but it still took me almost 2 hours.
Oh, man.
Because I had not trained that unit at all, and that unit started very far away from the rest of my team, and you only have so many uses of Divine Pulse when that unit gets hit with an attack that they got hit with a 23 to be hit with, but they still got hit by it anyway 6 times in a row.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, trade all your units. At least a little bit. At least a little bit.
And so, like, I was gonna say that I didn't want to get into it too much, but there's one character that I said before I don't like.
Yeah,
and
right? Is the one you said?
Mm-hmm. And it's not that I don't like them because they're a bad character. I don't like them because they're that's the type of character that I always don't like, which is fine. He's still a good character, but you know what I did to make him useful to me?
What's that?
I turned him into a healer.
Okay.
So now he just, and like, it's funny because you know how like sometimes they'll come to you and they're like, hey, like I really want to change my goal. I think I need to do this. He was like, yeah, I really feel like I do better just healing the team, so I need to just focus on faith. And I was just like, yes, thank you. So now he gets a 1.5 bonus for XP, which is great.
King, I don't feel like I can review 3 houses in total without doing the other routes as well. Which is stupid. I should just review just one route. I should. Why would I do this to myself? But without getting into spoilers, there are some options on repeat playthroughs that make things faster.
Oh, really?
And I can get into mechanically what that means if you'd like, Pat. I don't want to spoil things for you that you don't care about, but it's not any like, it's not stuff that'll matter until after the game anyway. But so it's up to you.
When you found out the information, were you thoroughly surprised?
Yes, and excited.
Then I want to wait and be thoroughly surprised and excited.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
So obviously you're loving the game.
Yeah, it's, if not for Shadowbringers, again, man, 2019, right? Like the year starts, RE2 remake comes out, and I'm like, that's my game of the year. Then DMC5 comes out, and I'm like, that's my game of the year. Then Shadowbringers comes out, or then Judgment comes out, and I'm like, that's my game of the year. Maybe gotta finish it, right?
Yes, you do.
Then Shadowbringers comes out, and I'm like, that's my game of the year.
Wait, it's not a full game.
It doesn't matter. It's still my game. Then 3 houses come out, and I'm like, I need to finish it. So it's been that year for me so far. It's gonna be real tough making my top 10 at the end of the year.
It'll go without saying that before I don't want to say that a game is my game of the year until I finish it. But prior to completing Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I'm willing to go out on a limb that if for some crazy reason I'm not capable of finishing this game by the end of the year, even though I haven't completed it, it's my game of the year.
Like, it would have to really... I got spoiled for how many chapters there are, and I won't tell you how many. But...
I got spoiled for Judgment, so I understand.
Did you? Yeah. It would have to really mess up with the rest for me to just, like, hate it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's not been a single part of the game that I've disliked.
Yeah.
And obviously,
things I do.
Obviously I'm not as far as you are, so maybe there'll be something that I get to later that I don't like. And I mean don't like as in like I absolutely like, I'm like, oh, that's a problem. There's not anything where I say that. There's some things where I'm just like, oh, you know, it'd be nice if I didn't have to do that, or it'd be nice if it wasn't this way. But there's nothing that I'm sitting here like, this is awful.
I didn't have any of those till I did that paralog today.
Well, yeah, that's understandable.
I'm not joking, Pat. Like, without spoiling too much, there's an enemy type that... So it's an annoying enemy type already, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it has... On this map, it's a defeat commander map.
Mm-hmm.
And every turn, it spawns a bunch of reinforcements because you're supposed to rush the commander and take him out. But that other unit's just over there.
Oh, man. So what level was that unit?
And there's Fog of War.
Oh, wonderful.
So all of my guys are currently level 31.
Wow.
And that unit was level 19.
I feel like that's leveling them up some, though.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Apparently not.
Well, and to be fair, that character was still in like a standard class. They weren't, they hadn't classed up anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
So class changes make a big difference when it comes to stats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, sometimes it doesn't change the stats, but depending on what they're changing to, it changes the stats a lot.
Yeah. So one thing I really like about Three Houses, and I'll talk about it because I am going to do a video once I finish Blue Lions, talking about what I like about the game and what I don't. But one thing I really like is that you can't really mess up with a character, right?
Absolutely.
Their growth rates are based on the class that they're in, but when you promote them or change them to a different class, their stat totals change to what they would be in that class. So although, yes, you may be further behind. Let's say, for instance, you left somebody as a soldier for a long time before you promoted them to Cavalier. You would be further behind than somebody that had promoted right away with a Cavalier, but you would still have decent stats for a Cavalier.
Yeah, it would be something that you could grow with.
Yeah. So it's very well done, I think, and it's going to make it a lot of fun to mess around with specific runs, especially with how viable archers are in this game. It'd be really interesting to have an archer-only run where you make everybody an archer.
I have 2 archers right now.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Have they started getting some of the better skills for archer yet?
Maybe not.
Okay.
I can't wait to see what those are.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil that for you.
I will say that, and this shouldn't be a spoiler because we saw it in the trailer. There's a enemy type that's the big monster.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called.
The beast. They're not beast units like in 9 and 10, but they're something beast, demonic beast. That's what.
Okay, and they have the multiple health bars and all that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a pain.
Hey Pat, that paralog. Yeah, that's the enemy type.
Fun stuff. Yeah, no, those are
not
fun.
There were 9 of them on screen with multiple health bars.
9? Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous!
In Fog of War!
That's ridiculous!
And the wolves had pass! So they could go through my units like they were nothing!
That's ridiculous.
They literally could move through their squares and then attack my healers!
That's so crazy. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
And the boss had 3 health bars.
Oh, I'm sure. Because it'd be too easy.
Yeah.
Man. So I wonder how much different it is not playing on hard.
I'm actually really curious about that because I feel like that chapter's way easier on normal.
And see, like whenever I do my second and third playthrough, I have every intention of playing on normal.
Yeah,
because I feel like because I feel like it'll go probably a little bit faster, and I'll just get to enjoy the story a little bit more.
Well, and now we found out that hard stops us from being able to do we don't have as many options as on normal. Because on normal, you don't spend battle currency to battle in a day.
Really?
On normal, like if you have 3 quests that require you to do a specific auxiliary battle, you can do them all on the same day. Whereas there were days where I had to battle on one Saturday and then battle again on the next Saturday just to be able to get all the quests done. When I could have been doing a seminar or exploring and building up my stats. And that happened multiple times.
Yeah.
The point where I was like, yeah, I like this challenge, but why would I ever play it on hard again?
Yeah. I'm worried that the battle part of it is going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, and it might be. We might do a normal playthrough and go, oh man, I'll never play on normal again.
Yeah, but I'm excited. This is one of the first games where I won't let myself not have a second playthrough. Because there's other games where I've been like, yeah, I'm going to play this again, and it just kind of doesn't happen. Yeah. This game, it's going to happen.
From where I'm at in the story, you have to play it again.
Okay.
I know for a fact things have to be different on the other side. Drastically different, Patrick.
Man, I cannot wait for Game of the Year. That discussion's going to be interesting.
Because Andrew's only going to have time for one playthrough, most likely.
Yeah. And I might only get halfway through a second one.
Yeah, so you guys are going to have a wildly different experience than I do.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for that.
It's going to be so good. This game.
I want to tell you where I'm at right now, but I'm afraid it would spoil things on your route, so I can't.
No, I understand. It's probably better if we wait. And I know you want to talk about it so badly because it was the same way with Judgment.
I can wait. Hey, I'll tell you though, as soon as I beat the first house and make my video on it, I'm probably going to go back to Judgment and then go do the other houses.
Gotcha. Okay.
because I still want to get that Judgment spoiler cast out.
Can you give us some context on Minoria and Momodora?
Yeah, so Momodora is a pretty old game. I think it came out in like, I can look it up actually. I'm not hosting the podcast. I can use the internet and it won't kill everything. Momodora Under the Moonlight, I think is what it was called. Reverie Under the Moonlight. Came out in 2010. It was a really solid platformer, kind of a, one of the first platform indie games to come out that wasn't Kickstarted,
Yeah.
And so it kind of didn't get a lot of traction. Like not a lot of people talked about it. There were other games previous. Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight is actually Momodora 4. There were other games that came before it, but none of them were ever really talked about,
Yeah.
And then bigger YouTubers like Indie Mouse and people like that did videos on Momodora, and it blew up. And it gave the devs enough purchases that they could make another game. And so they moved from 2D to 3D and have almost finished. It will be finished very soon. Minoria. And it's a very different art style, but I think it looks really good.
See, I thought it was still technically 2D based on the video I saw.
3D in a 2D environment.
Okay, so they used the shading to make it 3D, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
they made sure to leave a note that it wasn't the final product, so that it's still in work, but it looks good. I'm assuming it's just a story-driven platformer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I called it an RPG earlier, but I took it back. I was like, it's probably not an RPG. It's probably just more of a story-driven platformer.
If it's like Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight, it'll have RPG elements, but it's not a full-on.
Yeah, it's just mainly like a platforming, story-driven fighter game.
Yeah. It's almost like a Metroidvania, but you don't quite collect as much stuff. It's mostly just skill-based.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's exciting. The game looks really good. And the only other thing out of releases and date announcements that I really wanted to get your opinion about was Undernight.
Undernight in birth, X-Late Clear.
It looked really good.
Spelled out EXE:late.
Open bracket CL-R close bracket.
Close bracket, yeah. I really liked Undernight in birth. Unist was really good. And Clear looks like it's going to be even better, man. I'm really stoked for it.
Is it made by the same people who made Blaze Blue Cross Tag?
So, technically, yes and no. So, Unist was made by the guys who made Arcana Heart, right?
Okay.
And they're not a very big team, but they really love fighting games. And so they got into a deal with Arxis that makes Blaze Blue and said, hey, we don't have a lot of money, but we want to make these games. People like our games. What do you think? And Arxis was like, yep, we're going to enter a partnership where technically Arxis owns the rights to make these games now, to make Underbirth or Undernight, but they still have given complete creative control to that team.
That's cool, especially because they're a small team.
Yeah, absolutely. And so these games will keep coming now with Arxis bankrolling them.
That's super great. Well, it looks good. I really want the game. I really want to get it and try it out because it looks fun.
Yeah.
I love the art style, obviously. I mean, that art style is fantastic. Guilty Gear looked great. Grand Blue looks great. Minoria looks great. I wish we knew more about King of Fighters 15, kind of. Yeah. But that was all I got to in the game announcements and releases. We should probably try to burn through the news if we can.
Yeah.
Considering the time. So let's kind of...
We can hit all the Evo updates when it comes to playable characters if you want really quickly.
Yeah, if you want to help me knock those out, we can kind of like scratch them off the list here.
Yeah.
And then jump into the other news.
You have Tekken 7 Season 3 Pass revealed. You're going to be getting Zafina as well as a new character called Leroy Smith. Those characters look really cool. Leroy Smith, brand new to the franchise, an old man.
He looked interesting.
Yeah, I thought he looked really cool. So glad for that. Then we have Cassandra is coming to Soul Cal 6, and she looks just like Cassandra from previous iterations. Even still has the butt slop. So like, sure, okay. We got DLC characters for Samurai Showdown coming. Rimuridu, Basara, Kazuma, Wanfu, Hisame, and Mina, all of which look great. They look like they've translated them to the new game very well. Cross tag battle coming with some new hype. 9 new characters. We only know of 4 of them right now, but Yumi and Akatsuki look really cool. Neo from Ruby looks really cool. And then Blitz Tank is just a tank. Like a cool anime tank.
That's awesome.
And that's really cool. I'm very excited for that. And they're actually from an entirely different game that I can't remember the name of right now, but that game has now been added to the cross tag, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
Then after that, we have Fighter Z is adding Janemba, who is, super cool. Janemba from the Dragon Ball movie. See, go on, buddy. I'm trying to do a podcast. And then also Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta, which is like, sure, yeah, okay. That's another Goku, except it's also Goku fused with Vegeta, so that's cool.
I hate to say this, but I'm just so uninterested.
There's so many other characters it could have been.
Well, I mean, I guess part of it also is like I'm not interested in Super, and everyone's told me I should be, but I have such a sour taste in my mouth after GT, and I know that it's not canon, and I know that it's not their fault, but I can't help but have GT in the back of my mind when I start getting ready to try to watch Super.
So you know what bothers me about it being Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Gogeta?
What?
Is that's not the one that fought Janemba. It was regular Gogeta that fought Janemba.
That's even worse. And plus, the game has literally all the Gokus possible at this point.
You can have 2 full teams of different Gokus.
It's ridiculous.
And like, again, it wouldn't bother me if there were other characters that have been represented. But like, where's Pycon? Why can't I play as Hercule?
Man, Hercule's so great.
I agree.
Hercule's so great.
And then after that, of course, you already talked about the stuff with Grand Blue, and we mentioned the story that's going on in there. And then the last big one is it's kind of news as well, but it's the addition of new DLC coming through Street Fighter V. Poison, Lucia, and E Honda are all coming to Street Fighter V. But the way that we found this out was because Steam accidentally leaked the trailer a month ahead of time.
That's rough. Now, I will say this. This was kind of a bad time for Steam to do that, because right now everyone's really like against Epic and trying to like say, hey, this Steam is great. Steam is it. You need to stick with Steam. And then this happens. And it's kind of like, come on, man. We needed you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
We needed you.
At least we know. It's kind of weird that it took 3 years to get E Honda into Street Fighter V.
That is really weird. That is really weird. So that's all from E3, right?
We could also real quick hit that Dragon Quest news if you'd like, or we could save that. It's up to you.
Did you want to just go ahead and finish these 2, and then we'll just start back up at the top?
Yeah, let's get those 2 out of the way. So Smash Prime was about a month ago, the Smash Prime tournament.
Mm-hmm.
During the course of that tournament, there's a moment where it looks like Ally throws the match to Almighty Zack. Or Zack Almighty. I can't keep it straight in my head. And it was definitely contested at the time. All of a sudden, he just stops going for the kill and tries to go for grabs. And the commenters at the time were like, maybe it's nerves, maybe it's stress, maybe he's just, messing up, maybe he's trying to go for style points. Nobody really knew, what exactly had happened. But Ally has come out confirmed that he threw the match. And he threw the match because Zack had blackmail on him because they were dating. And Zack is underage.
Oh, boy.
So not only is there now this problem of he's admitted that he was dating an underage guy in the Smash scene, which is not cool and illegal, but also that he threw the tournament on purpose so that he wouldn't get caught with that. And
now he's losing and he's getting caught.
Yeah, and he's trying to act like the victim in this. And it's just really odd to me. It's like, oh, you could not have made that headline up, right?
No. And at least, if you're going to go ahead and throw and admit that you threw, don't tell everybody that. Because it just looks even worse now. Because, like I said, now you're caught. It's over. That was just dumb.
The thing that made it even better was that he only admitted it because somebody was like, well, he only threw, somebody on Twitter was like, well, he only threw that because they were in a relationship. Here's text information.
Oh boy.
Which means it's somebody that he knew that threw him under the bus.
Yep, that's even worse.
And I don't even blame him. Like,
no.
Hey, what are you doing, man?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like, why would you oh man. That's just rough.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Zach has stepped away from the scene. But Ally has not. And like, this is just me. This is just a Trey thing. But if I was a tournament organizer, I'd be like, man, don't let him play.
Yeah. Sorry, guy.
He should be barred for at least a while until we can be sure he's not going to throw again. Because you undermine the entire tournament when that happens. You know?
Yeah, because if you're gonna do that, what if the person that lost to you in the semifinal would have beaten the person that played in the final?
Yeah. Well, and my thing is, if you've already got it set that you will throw the match for one reason, what if somebody just goes, hey, I want to win this real bad. If you let me win, I'll give you half of the prize money.
Yeah.
And then, like, for then, it's guaranteed half, right? You just throw. Like, he's already proven that he will throw.
Yeah, you might as well just make sure he doesn't. I agree. Yeah. I completely agree.
But that's just me. Obviously, we don't know the entire story, but I really was, like, what's the right word here? Hesitant? That's the word. I tried to combine the words hesitant and reticent to have this even as a topic we discuss, because, we don't know the whole story. But then he just admitted it on Twitter, and I was like, oh, well, I guess we got to talk about it now.
Yeah, like, that's just stupidity at that point.
Because a month ago, I didn't bring it up. I was like, that's suspect, that's real sus, but, whatever.
Yeah.
But
apparently not.
So.
Apparently not.
So, yeah, that's a thing that happened. Any other thoughts on that, Pat? I mean, you're the host. You get the call when we move on.
So, I just want to say, I'm not going to say it, but the comment that King made was really funny.
Yeah, it's a very good comment.
It was really funny. Anyways, we should probably move on. There's not much more you can say, really. I mean, on the surface, it looks really bad. We don't know the situation. And in no way am I trying to say that their relationship, like, besides the fact that he's underage, is a problem. It's just that you shouldn't date underage people. That there's laws in place for a reason. We should follow those laws. So it's kind of one of those things.
Yes.
Anyways, so tell me about this Dragon Quest XI S, which I'm assuming it means Switch.
Yes, it's the special edition for the Switch.
Cool.
There's a lot of information we already knew about it. We've talked about it a couple times, but it's getting a demo.
Okay.
And if you play that demo, you get a seat of skill for in the game. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we also found out that they're adding transmog to it. So, for instance, there's some armor in the game that looks pretty cool, but stat-wise is really bad. And when we were streaming the game, there were times where we would have armor we really wanted to wear because it looks really cool and was thematically appropriate, but was way worse than other armor. And with transmog, not a problem. You just glamour it onto the new armor.
That's how it should be. That's how games should be.
I agree. They've also confirmed they're adding a bunch of new costumes.
Oh, so, man.
I've got to collect all those costumes.
That's super cool. So, well, if the demo's free, which I'm assuming it will be,
yeah,
I definitely will probably check it out. I've played a couple hours of a Dragon Quest game that was for the PS2 that you let me borrow a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember a whole lot.
That's fair.
So
this is a good one.
I was going to say, would this be a good entry point for me to try?
Yes. It comes very early on in the timeline, which, again, the games are they're like Final Fantasy games. They're loosely connected to each other.
Yeah.
But it comes very early on in the timeline, so it's a good grab.
Cool. I'll definitely check out the demo then. I mean, it's free. Why wouldn't I?
The Switch version also has the orchestral versions of the themes instead of it being MIDI.
Okay.
Which I still like the MIDI, but a lot of people don't. I like the orchestral versions too, I'm sure.
Is there salt in there? Do I sense salt in there?
I'll put it this way. When I talk about the best soundtracks and I bring up Dragon Quest XI, because I really do love that soundtrack, people go, But it's just MIDI, so it can't stand alongside things like Final Fantasy VI. It's like Final Fantasy VI was MIDI too. You
Wow.
Yeah, like the armor that King's talking about. Absolutely. Like I wanted to in the stream wear that for the rest of the game because it was thematically appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point where there was stuff that was twice as good as it. It was like, oh,
I need to wear that.
Switch.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. We'll have to check that out. So moving on, we got a little bit more news here. So this is interesting to me, and I looked this up prior because I didn't know how far I was going to get into the news before you were able to make it. I have really mixed opinions, but I'm leaning more towards a negative opinion on this. So Leffen, the pro melee player, tried to ban Hero from tournament play before Hero even came out, which is a huge problem in and itself.
I will tell you too. After he came out, Leffen doubled down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I'm gonna let you unload on this real quick, and then I will add my thoughts.
So, I'm not gonna pretend that I like Leffen, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pretend that like I'm a huge Leffen fan or anything. I've watched Leffen for many, many years. I have watched him. He's a good melee player.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely is. He's a great Fox. He's a decent Marth. He's a very good player. I have rooted for him in tournament. But just because I like him as a player does not mean I like him as a person. And
absolutely,
Leffen's attitude when it comes to anything that is not Fox and Marth or Sheik is like ridiculous. I will be the first to admit that Hero is not like he is not very like set is probably the word. You will have a wildly different experience every single time you fight against Hero. And the reason is because there's a lot of randomness in his abilities. He has crits that can pop up. He has a magic menu that will pop up when you use down B, and the spells are randomized. Some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. For Leffen, that is enough that this random character does not need to be in this game. I could understand that, right?
Yeah.
I absolutely could. I can get where he's coming from with that. The problem is, his policy only matters against Hero, which is a character that when the trailer came out, he immediately was like, hey, who is this Japanese trash? We don't need another anime swordsman in Smash. Which, you know, is kind of aggravating.
Hurtful words there.
A little bit. But he doesn't have a problem with Game & Watch, and I understand Game & Watch is random only on the side B. He doesn't have a problem with Pichu that can randomly do slightly more damage than he normally does, but I understand that's slight more damage, right? He has a big problem with instant KO moves, like Thwack, which is an instant KO percentage chance to happen, right? It can happen. It doesn't have to. And more often than not, it will not be an instant kill. But, for instance, Luigi's down taunt has a instant kill that can happen with it, and Jigglypuff's rest has an instant kill that can happen with it that is a percent chance. So automatically not banning those characters while trying to ban Hero just screams salt to me.
Yeah.
And that's where it really starts to break for me, you know?
Yes, absolutely. So,
and the last thing, I'm sorry.
No. I thought you were done.
About all this has been super frustrating.
That's basically what I was about to say.
Like, I get that he doesn't like the character. That's fine, right? He doesn't have to like the character. But Hero is Dragon Quest. Like, everything about that character is Dragon Quest. He has all of the features that are in Dragon Quest. And to try and ban a character just because you don't like them, when you are somebody that is, like, well revered in the Smash community, and tons of people immediately jump on the bandwagon too, when you haven't even got a chance to play the character yourself, it's irresponsible, and it just screams salt to me, and I hate it.
Completely agree. So that's my big problem with it, is that whether or not the abilities look like they're gonna be OP or however you want to put it, you can't just sit here and say no before you've even tried playing the character. Like, that's just not okay. especially considering the fact that this character is one of the most popular characters in Japan. Like this franchise has been around for a long time, and to try to say that you don't think that people should be able to play with that character just because you don't like them is asinine, if you ask me.
To answer the chat real quick, I don't mean to cut in. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
The way that the randomness works for Hero is that his smash attacks have a chance to crit, and the crit will do extra damage. Anything above 70%, if you crit and you're on a stage that is easy to be thrown off of, and you are a light character, it's probably going to kill you. But it is a percentage chance to crit on his smash attacks, not on all his attacks, which means you have to get hit with the smash attack first. His instant KO that has a chance to instant KO you, it's not always an instant KO. Whack that upgrades to thwack when it instant KOs. It is a ranged attack that has to hit and can be reflected, can be blocked, can be shielded through, can be dodged. And then finally, his menu of spells, because people will go, well, you'll just thwack all day. His 4 spells that pop up are completely random and will not be in the same place twice during the course of a match. So you still have to stop for a second and find the spell. While you're doing that, you cannot move, you cannot roll, you cannot dodge.
Yeah, you're going to be taking damage.
Yes, and that's just to explain it. Please go ahead.
Well, you're basically going to have to be standing on the side of the map, no one seeing you or wanting to touch you. Open the menu and try to press it for it to be something that's like obviously effective. Like, it's not something that can be done stupid quickly, perfectly.
Yeah, because in there are some spells that will instant kill you. Kamikaze just kills you, takes your stock, you're just dead. And it can be the first spell that comes up in the list.
Yeah.
You have things like Kaklang that will just turn you into metal and you can't move. You know, you don't take any damage, but you're effectively out of the fight. And if you do that in midair, you're dead.
Exactly.
Like, it's not this overpowered set of skills like people think it is. It's actually very balanced in the form of the randomness will work against you as well. But sometimes, because it is random, sometimes it will result in you getting a kill when you otherwise would not have.
And that's why I think that it'd be perfect for tournament play. Because it adds such a great, like, unique factor that's not normally there, which is randomness. So much can change the tide of an entire fight. Like, imagine you're playing as hero, you're up 3-1. And you get Kamikaze.
Yeah.
It's 2-1, and if they're at 0%, they have a legitimate chance.
Yeah.
So, I think, like I said, I think it's asinine. I think it's the best word for it. It's ridiculous. It's immature. And it's just kind of sad that we're having to have this conversation about somebody who's supposed to be... And I kind of talked about this earlier, where people who are super popular in the community have actually a lot of, like, input on the community's feelings.
Yeah.
Somebody who's really popular can say something, and it just completely sways the whole community.
Yeah.
And in some cases, I think that the developers and stuff should not be afraid to listen to those people. But they should also know when not to listen to those people. And this is obviously one of those moments.
Right.
And I hope that Hero is definitely in tournament play, just spite what he said.
Well, and you know what Omni said? I don't know if you follow any of the Smash community, but Omni came out and was like, yeah, if you think that Hero's going to be a problem, then I guess you better train so that you don't have any problems fighting a hero.
That's really good.
He's right.
That's really good.
Later, Will.
So moving on from that, because it's kind of a sore subject, I guess. So Crash Team Racing, we're gonna have microtransactions added in the form of purchasing coins.
Remember when they promised that they wouldn't do that?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
It's frustrating.
Don't move. That's what I like about Activision.
Yeah, I was about to say, in some cases, it's hard to say, like, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. But they said they wouldn't do it, Pat.
I know. It's the worst part. It's so crazy how microtransactions have literally just taken over the entire gaming community. And I don't want to dig too deep because the wound will just open and the blood will flow and we'll be talking about it all night.
Yeah. There's not much more to say about it, really. It's just, hey, they said they wouldn't do it, and they did it.
And this is Crash Team Racing, man. It's supposed to be like an arcade racing game. What is this crap,
It didn't have it when it first came out.
Crash Team Racing. Okay, moving on from that. So, Ooblets, which is a Patreon-supported game being made by two-man studio Glumberland, has taken an Epic exclusive deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously the Patreons are upset. Why wouldn't they be?
As you expect, they've been paying to have this game made, and all of a sudden, it's like they didn't have to.
And it's like we talked about this a while back. It's like, okay, so what happens to the people who supported the Patreon? What if they can't use the Epic launcher? Do they not get the game?
Yeah. That's the thing that really bothers me is because I mean we'll talk about the devs' response and we'll talk about everybody else's response, but when they do this, they're overseas fans that just can't access the Epic Game Store because Tencent owns it, and some companies don't want China software being available, and so the internet just blocks it. They can't download it at all. They're just out of luck.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, maybe they put in years of Patreon support for this game to be made that they're excited for, and it's just like, nope.
Yep. And there's not much to say about that either, because like I said, we've basically had this discussion before. It's sad. It's hard to see. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
But
I do want to talk about the devs' response, because I think this could have been handled really easily. It could have been, hey, we've been offered this deal. Like this personally, this is how I think it should have gone. And I'm gonna armchair dev here. I'll even sit back and do it. But I think it should have been, hey, we cannot continue as a company with the amount of money we're making right now. And we've been offered a deal that will allow us to do so. We need this money so that we can make more games, so that we can continue to be a part of this industry. We're going to refund all the Patreon money. We're sorry for the inconvenience, and we hope you understand.
Yeah. That'd have been the right thing to do.
Be upfront, be honest, just tell them why you took the money.
And take care of your customers.
Yeah. Pat, what do you think they said instead?
Don't get angry about it.
Okay, so we did the thing people get angry about, but maybe don't get angry about it.
Yeah.
Which only got worse. It only got worse when they came back later and were like, "Yeah, we know our fans aren't the crazy ones that hate Epic Game Store, so we know our fans will understand."
No.
And it's like, so
it's not how that works.
Insulting people that are upset that you made this decision.
Yeah, it's not how that works.
And then Tim Sweeney, the guy who owns Epic, put out a tweet that was like, "This is the best thing that could have happened." And it's like, well, sure, you think that.
Of course you do. You're going to be making more money.
Yeah. A bunch of people like in the industry have come out to support this decision too. To the point where they're like trying to argue that you shouldn't identify as a customer or a consumer. You should identify as someone who cares about game development. It's like, yeah, I do identify as someone who cares about game development. That's why they get my money, and I don't pirate video games. But they have that street walks both ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a rough situation, and like I said, we've literally had this conversation before, and it sucks. We're gonna keep having the conversation, but it's not what we want to hear. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Coming back to Evo real quick.
This is a thing, man. This is a thing.
This is a problem.
Like, why did this happen?
Yeah. So Evo staff decided to make a joke.
Yeah.
And they made a cameo video for Tekken.
Yeah.
And Snake was in it.
Well, the way that they did it too, like you didn't even see Snake, you just heard Snake.
Mm-hmm.
And Snake was talking about how, basically, so that we don't get demonetized, this is a great match in Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly David Hayter's voice. It's clearly like set up with. It even has the codec called Chime in front of it. It's like, yeah, this is Snake's gonna be in Tekken. Snake's gonna be in Tekken, man. Tekken's already got, Negan from The Walking Dead, and it's got Noctis from Final Fantasy. Anything could happen in Tekken.
Nope. Yeah, it's not there. And the worst part is, they didn't get permission.
From anyone!
From anybody!
Like, they didn't even talk to Bandai Namco about how they were going to do this over Tekken gameplay.
There's no way they're not getting sued.
Oh, there's for sure. If they don't get sued, there's going to be, like, somebody got fired.
Absolutely. Because that's the way big companies handle everything nowadays.
Konami hasn't said anything. Bandai Namco hasn't said anything. But David Hayter said something.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that
Hayter
too.
was like, hey, don't use my voice. Who gave you permission to use my voice? You didn't talk to us, like to me or to Bandai or to Konami about this. Don't use my voice to advertise other games that I'm not in. Basically, it's what he was like.
Yeah.
So then it gets worse, Pat.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. So there's a streamer named Casmer.
Mm-hmm.
And Casmer uses a service called Cameo that allows you to get voice actors to record lines for you, and you pay them for the lines.
Yeah.
And they charge however much they feel like needs to be charged,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Casmer streams Tekken. So he paid David Hayter months ago to record that line about how it was a great match of Tekken in Snake's voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has an emote, or like a deal on his soundboard that he presses, and it plays the codec sound and then that line. Which means whoever did this stole that from Casmer's stream after he paid David Hayter for it to use in his own personal stream, and then aired it live on Evo as part of a match.
It's awful. It's so bad.
Why?
It's so bad.
Who thought that was a good idea?
Somebody who doesn't have a job, hopefully. There's no way something doesn't happen.
And I mean, yeah, technically this could lead to Snake getting added, as King has just pointed out, but I think more likely it'll lead to no Konami crossovers with Tekken in the future.
Yeah, it's literally gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna deal with you at all now.
Watch next week, Konami goes, yeah, it's a shame because we were gonna add Alucard to Tekken, but too bad.
Oh man, that would be so bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to make sure I follow Konami on Twitter. So that was the last bit of news. I had one thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick because we didn't really get to talk about it much. And it was talked about in chat for a second. The new Call of Duty. We talked about it kind of briefly.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch that video?
I did not. Real quick though, one last thought. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
On the Tekken thing. It is an even worse bad taste to do that at a place where you announce characters in video games.
Yep.
I just want to throw that out there. What's wrong with you? But no, I did not get the chance to watch it, unfortunately. So what has you so excited?
So
this new Call of Duty.
And I'm gonna borrow some phrases from the Easy Allies because they said it first.
I borrow a lot of them from them, so please go ahead.
But I agree with what they said. The game looks more mature to me. And that's a weird way to put it, but when you watch the video, I feel like it's the best way to put it. It looks more mature. Obviously, I didn't play the game, but they said that it feels more mature.
Okay.
And let's be real, it is just Call of Duty. I mean, it's not like you can't really change Call of Duty too much,
right?
Because it become a different game. And we do know that it's basically redone version of Modern Warfare. So they're starting the story over, but they're going to be changing the story. So it's not like the exact same thing over again. They're basically going back and saying, what if this happened instead? And they're changing things that way.
I got you.
We don't know a whole lot about the story. All we got to see was multiplayer gameplay.
Kill streaks are back, right?
Yes, and it's actual kill streaks. It's not score streaks, and I am here for it. I hate score streaks. I think it's stupid. Kill streaks are good.
You mean you liked when you got, actual like better abilities because you stayed alive during a match instead of just getting them every time.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the idea of score streaks was really sound. I really did. It was just that, on paper, it's one of those things that sounds great, right?
Yeah.
But in actual practice, it was like, ooh,
This is not working. Yeah.
there's always predator drones. There's always.
Yep. And see, I mean, I'm not a big sniper Call of Duty player. I don't like snipers in Call of Duty that much. So
it's all about the 360 no scope, bro. You gotta just run around the map with a sniper and set up and camp for a little while.
And I heard that it's pretty much the same as it's always been for snipers. But what really has me hyped about this game is a new game mode. They're bringing back some old game modes, like in, I believe the last time we saw it was Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the game mode, but it's the game mode where you start out and they send a load of enemies at you and you have nothing but a pistol, and every time you get money for each round and you can spend that money on guns or ammo and you can play with friends. Somebody will know the name of it. I just can't remember for the life of me right now.
Counter-Strike?
No. But it's all against NPCs, so no, it's not
Combat training?
It's no, I don't. What is it called? It's gonna bother me. Hold on. Second.
I'm in this weird love-hate relationship with Call of Duty where, like, I will go for like a month where I love Call of Duty again. And I play it like every day, and I'm just like, yeah, sit back, relax, play some Call of Duty, and then I will go the rest of the 11 months of the year hating Call of Duty again.
I understand.
And, like, the thought of Call of Duty makes me like, no, why would I play Call of Duty? And then a new one comes out and I buy it and play it for a month again.
Yeah. So the mode I was talking about is called Special Ops.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. But the new game mode they have is called Night Vision, which seems very basic when you first kind of hear it. Basically what they do is they take your HUD completely away.
Okay.
You can't tell how much ammo you have. The only way you know if somebody's an enemy or not is the name that shows up above them if you're looking directly at them.
I gotcha.
While your flashlight is on them. If you are running around and moving and aiming down the sights, a laser comes out. And people can see your laser anywhere. Like from anywhere as long as it's like open. But when you're not aiming down the sights, they can't see the laser, so it's complete dark.
Yeah.
You can't tell if you're hitting someone. You can't tell if you've killed someone. Because the markers are completely gone from the HUD. So it's like hardcore, but better.
I got you.
If you see the video, it'll look good because that's what they're going for.
Right.
But you'll see what I'm talking about more. It looks like an amazing game mode where you're not relying on all this extra jazz. It's literally like, I've got this gun. Hopefully I still have ammo. This person's been shooting at me and I threw a grenade, but I don't know if I hit them. Did they stop firing to make me think that I killed them? Or did I kill them? Do I run over there to find out? Or do I wait? And it's constantly like an actual, like, more realistic battle experience because you're not constantly seeing hit markers and all of that. You have to actually, like, have that skill and be able to go run around and see them. So it's super interesting.
I got you.
And it made me super hype. I'm already hyped about the game because it's crossplay. And there's a lot of my friends that I used to play Call of Duty with that I can't see anymore.
All games should have crossplay.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. Completely agree. I really wish that I could play with them on some of the Call of Duties that have come out, but obviously I can't because they have Xbox. Yeah. But now that I can, because this game's going to have... Yeah, I don't know why they have Xbox. But now I'll be able to play with them. And I'll probably buy it on PC. And play it on my PC. Which will be the first time I've ever owned Call of Duty on PC. Exactly. Why wouldn't I? So I'm super hyped. I think this is going to be really good. I don't expect it to be perfect, but...
I'll let you know, like, December when it's like $20 and I buy it and play it for a month. I'll let you know.
It's understandable. I would recommend watching the Easy Allies preview because they had a lot of really good insight. I believe it was Michael Huber that wait, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it was him that did the preview.
Cool. Huber gets hyped, so that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, he said he loved it. And obviously he made the disclaimer like, hey, like I play Call of Duty already, so I'm kind of gonna like it anyways. But he thought that it was a lot better version of Call of Duty than we've seen in a while. So that's exciting.
Huber's one of those people that, and I wish I could be that person when it comes to shooters. I am that person when it comes to RPGs. That like he can enjoy Fortnite. He'll freely admit all the problems it has. But he'll be playing and he'll like launch in solos and get shot immediately and be like, no big problem. No big problem. We'll just roll again. Let's drop again. And it's like, all right, Huber. Like that's one of those things that I wish I could do with shooters, you know? Because for me, that frustration of, all right, well, there goes that match. But I understand that I'm that way with RPGs where other people are like, what do you mean I got to do 4 hours of this mindless nothing before I get to the real combat?
Yeah.
And like for me, it's like, yeah, that's 4 hours of just build up, you know? And honestly, when you look at it from that perspective, that's all those bad matches are. It's just build up to the good match, you know? But
exactly.
I can't look at it that way most of the time. And if I could, I'd be more like Huber. So all I'm trying to say is Michael Huber is like a very special, like hyper person. And all of you should follow him on Twitter and watch Easy Allies because Michael Huber might honestly be one of the best people on this earth. He's like, and it's not even me like fanboying out. Like he actually is like a super great guy.
But you are fanboying. Let's just make sure that's on the record. Which is fine.
If I really wanted to fanboy, I'd talk about Kyle Bossman. No, I'll stop.
Yeah, so I'm that way with Call of Duty. I am not that way with shooters. I am that way with Overwatch.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not, but for the most part I am that way with Overwatch. But Call of Duty is one of those games where I buy it every year. And even if I hate it, I play it. Because there's just things that I like. But I think that this is going to be I think that this is going to be a lot better Call of Duty than we've seen. And it's better for me saying it now than saying it when I was talking about World War II.
Yeah.
Because I actually paid more attention to what was going on instead of just jumping back to, we're finally back on the ground. This game is going to be great. And it was awful.
Yeah.
So
I think World War II, Call of Duty World War II's like, it let a lot of us down. And I don't even play Call of Duty that much.
I still rather play World War II than play almost any of the games where I had an exosuit, but that's for a conversation for another day.
But Advanced Warfare was like what a Gundam game, if it was a first-person Gundam game, would actually be like. So as long as I could not see my person and just pretended I was a Gundam, I was fine. Honestly, I thought Advanced Warfare's zombie mode was really good. I didn't play the zombie mode that much.
And I also bought all the DLC because I'm a sucker.
Of course you did. Now Titanfall.
But yeah, to kind of get that conversation out of the way, I really wanted to talk to you about the night vision mode because that's what I'm the most hyped for. I see myself playing that constantly. The idea of playing the game and it actually being a lot more challenging because it's not like I can see that I've killed someone. Like you can't even see the score.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to me. I think the game mode's going to be really good. And I don't blame you for Artaka for losing interest after Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare wasn't that great. And honestly, Black Ops 3 was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. And Black Ops 4 is not bad. But you shouldn't have to say that about a franchise that comes out with games every year.
I 100% agree.
And the worst part, and I talked about this earlier in the podcast too, and I don't want to get too deep on it too because we're also running out of time, really. I just want to add, it's a different company making the game every year. So they have plenty of time to work on this game. And I can say from my experience of NBA 2K, where 2K makes the game every year, and it's the same company. It's not a different company working on the game every year.
Hmm.
I think that they do a better job making improvements to 2K than Call of Duty does making improvements to their game the next 2 years.
I mean, just based on what you've already told me, then yeah.
And it's sad because, let's be real, 2K's had a lot of problems. We've seen that in the news all last year.
Yeah.
It was just constant, like, microtransactions hell. But the game ends up being a lot more different than Call of Duty.
Sad. Pat, I just made myself sad.
Why?
I was gonna say, you know, another series that does that is Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors comes out with a new one about every year, and it's great every year. And then I was like, oh no, it wasn't last year.
No, it was not.
No. Oh no. And then I just reminded, like, in my mind, I went through the entire journey again. And I was like, oh, Dynasty Warriors 9, why?
If you haven't seen that series, you should go and check out the VODs of Trey playing Dynasty Warriors 9.
That series!
Dynasty Warriors 9 with Trey. It's literally hell. And one of the videos, I could have swore he was crying.
I know for a fact in one of the videos, I didn't cut anything. And I know for a fact in one of those videos, I'm silent for like 6 minutes.
So the first video is Trey doing everything he can to be excited about the game.
I was excited when the opening cutscene was still playing.
And then as the game continued, you can just slowly hear all of his soul being ripped apart. It was awful. But in a comedic way.
Did you guys know there are tigers in that game and you can hunt them? But they don't do anything when you hit them, so you just stand still and swing at them till they die?
You should do that, King. Buy him a hard disk copy of Dynasty Warriors 9.
Please, no.
We'll make
I don't want that in my house.
We'll make him display it.
I think I deleted it off my hard drive too. I was like, no, I've got to re-download it just to finish that series.
I don't think you need to finish that series, Trey. You've played enough of that game.
I don't think I have to. Oh, Jump Force! Oh!
Yeah, you shouldn't have to finish that either.
Jump Force for review.
No, you're fine.
Oh, why did I do
we know it's bad.
I quit. I'm deleting the channel. We're done. I'd rather delete the channel than finish Jump Force.
Just don't finish Jump Force.
Oh.
He's not deleting the channel. False alarm, everyone. The channel is still alive and well.
But Pat, what if I buy all the DLC and force myself to beat it as Seto Kaiba?
No.
Why did I just have that thought?
Seto Kaiba probably plays like trash.
Yeah, I know he does.
Because the entire game is trash. Yep. Well, that has been a podcast. It's been an interesting one. It almost went 2 hours anyways, when we were supposed to be a shorter one. And look where we are. Trey didn't have to hear any of my 2K talk, except for like a small snippet of a soapbox.
That's true. I gave myself a headache.
Do you have any plugs?
Yeah. So first, I want to plug my dog Zeke because when I get home, I let him out right away, and because I was rushing to get the podcast, I have not done that, and he is just laid on the floor and waited patiently this whole time, like a good boy.
What a good boy.
He's a good boy.
Can we get a hashtag good boy in chat?
Please. The second is for the Easy Allies. They just finished up Easy Living. Which, if you don't know what that is, it is where they play for 50 hours.
Oh, boy.
They play a bunch of different games. Each of the allies has a shift, basically, with somebody else awake to play with them, you know. Mm-hmm. And they put it in a big playlist, and it's just jolly. It's fun. I watched that while I was editing this week, or last week, I guess. Today's Monday, right? Yeah, podcast day. I've been working a lot. I haven't got a lot of sleep. But
I'm in the same boat. I've worked 6 days a week.
They did Donkey Kong Country 2. They did Klonoa. They did Smashdown with Smash Ultimate. They did Hitman 2. They did some stuff in Sekiro. They played a bunch of, thank you, Pat. They played a bunch of different games, and it was a lot of fun. I'm about halfway through all of that now.
That's awesome.
I want to see the rest, but I very much enjoyed my time with it. Thank you, Art. Thank you. You're a good boy, Zeke. You a good boy. Isn't that right?
Have a good one,
Looking
King.
Have a good one, man.
I'm going to plug the Easy Allies preview of Call of Duty just because I'd like people to see Huber's opinion.
Yeah.
It's an interesting preview. It's really good. I'm excited.
And if you like Huber's opinion, at Michael P. Huber on Twitter, he's not sponsoring this podcast, but you can check out a podcast they do called Frame Trap, which another episode came out today that has been more Michael Huber and Brad Ellis talking about Judgment, Fire Emblem Three Houses, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. I haven't got to the Wolfenstein Youngblood stuff, but I have heard their thoughts on Judgment and Three Houses, and Huber is almost done with Judgment, or finished Judgment, I'm sorry.
Nice.
So they talk about it a little.
Did we miss anything? I don't think we did.
I think we got it. I was going back through my thoughts that I had written down, and looks like we really got everything for the most part.
I tried to notate what we got so that way we got it in order.
Yeah, since we went out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That looks like everything. So this is the end of the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. Let us know what you want to see on the channel. Leave some comments. We're going to read those. We're going to give you some feedback as well in the comments. So please start a conversation down there. Let's do it. Let's talk. Let's have fun. With all that said, I've been Patrick.
And I've been Trey.
And we've been the Full Spectrum. And always enjoy the full spectrum that life has to offer. See you later, guys. All right, let's